Welcome to part 44 of the Ultimate Unsolved Mysteries Iceberg, where we explore true crime, urban legends, mysterious disappearances, myths and legends, internet mysteries, and more. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell since I drop new content all the time. The disappearance of Bison DeLay. Bison DeLay, born Brian Carson Williams on April 6, 1969, was an American professional basketball player. He played for several NBA teams, including the Orlando Magic, Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Clippers, Chicago Bulls, and Detroit Pistons. DeLay's career was marked by notable success, including winning an NBA championship with the Chicago Bulls in 1997. However, his life took a mysterious and unfortunate turn in July 2002 when he disappeared in the South Pacific. DeLay was known for his somewhat unconventional lifestyle and interests beyond basketball. He changed his name from Brian Williams to Bison DeLay in 1998 to honor his Native American and African heritage. After his retirement in 1999, DeLay pursued various adventures, including earning a pilot's license, traveling extensively, and sailing. And unfortunately, this love of sailing would be indelibly tied to his disappearance. His boat, a 55-foot catamaran named Hakuna Matata, became central to the mystery of his disappearance. On July 6, 2002, DeLay set sail from Tahiti with his girlfriend Serena Carlin, skipper Bertrand Saldo, and his brother Miles DeBoard, who was born Kevin Williams. I find it somewhat odd that both DeLay and DeBoard changed both their first and last names, which seems to suggest to me the potential for some form of family rift. The group planned to sail to Hawaii, but just 2 days into the journey, all communication ceased. DeBoard later returned to Tahiti alone on July 20th, 2002, raising immediate suspicions. Investigations immediately revealed troubling details that suggested DeBoard was not an innocent party. DeBoard attempted to forge DeLay's signature to access his finances and purchase gold, indicating potential financial motives. He gave conflicting accounts of what happened during the voyage. One account claimed a tragic accident where Carlin expired after hitting her head, leading to a series of violent events that culminated in DeLay's death. DeBoard's accounts were inconsistent and lacked credibility, according to investigators. Authorities found the Hakuna Matata in disrepair with signs of a struggle but no bodies. DeBoard fled to Mexico, where he was later found in a coma due to an insulin overdose and subsequently expired on September 27, 2002. DeBoard's end left many questions unanswered, and no concrete evidence was found to confirm the exact sequence of events or the location of the bodies. Despite extensive investigations by the FBI and French authorities, the true fate of DeLay, Carlin, and Saldo remains unknown. However, as you may have guessed, the three are presumed to be deceased. Unlike other missing persons cases of this nature, there have been no further sightings of any of the missing people over the last 2 decades. Charlie No-Face. Charlie No-Face, also known as the Green Man, is a legendary figure from Pennsylvania with a story rooted in the life of a real man named Raymond Robinson. Born in October 1910, Ray experienced a life-altering accident at the age of 8. While attempting to climb a bridge carrying trolley wires near Wallace Creek, he came into contact with a live wire, which sent 22,000 volts through his body. This accident left him severely disfigured, with his face and body bearing the brunt of the burns. His left arm was amputated at the elbow, and he lost his nose and eyes, leaving him visually impaired and with a twisted mouth. Despite his injuries, Ray showed remarkable resilience. He lived a secluded life in Coppell, Pennsylvania, with his family. He spent his days making a variety of handicrafts, including belts, wallets, and doormats, to earn a modest income, sufficient to support himself. Ray chose to take his walks late at night to avoid frightening people with his appearance. These nightly walks along State Route 351 between Coppell and New Galilee led to the formation of the Green Man legend. The legend grew as locals began to notice Ray during his nocturnal walks. The name Green Man likely originated from the green flannel shirts he wore, which reflected the car lights at night, giving his pale skin a greenish hue. Others suggest his skin appeared to have a green hue due to the effects of the electricity. High school students and local residents turned it into a pastime to drive out and look for the Green Man, sometimes bringing him beer and cigarettes in exchange for photos and conversations. Ray's story is filled with instances of both kindness and cruelty. Some people would offer him rides, only to leave him in unfamiliar places as a joke. Despite the negative attention, Ray was known to be a kind and gentle person, craving interaction with others despite his solitary existence. And thankfully, not all the interactions with him were cruel in nature, with some people giving him gifts and just taking time to get to know him and his story. His popularity peaked in the 1960s, with many people gathering to catch a glimpse of the Green Man. Ray's later years were spent in a nursing home, where he passed away in 1985 at the age of 74. He was buried in Beaver Falls, close to the site of his childhood accident. The legend of Charlie No Face and the Green Man, however, lives on, with sightings of him continuing to this day. Charlie No Face remains a popular figure in local folklore, discussed and shared among residents and high school students, keeping the memory of Ray Robinson and his incredible story alive. Further, the tale of Charlie No Face has gone worldwide over the last decade or so, almost entirely due to platforms like YouTube. The Green Man legend has also spawned various myths and theories from people who are unaware of the true historical nature of Ray's life. Some stories suggest he was a utility worker or a victim of a different kind of accident, like being struck by lightning or falling into an industrial vat. These tales often exaggerate his disfigurement or give supernatural qualities to him, such as glowing green or haunting certain areas. Despite the many variations, the core of the legend remains the same, a deeply human story of resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Jimmy here again. Let me take a brief moment to promote my channel. If you're enjoying my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell. I had started this project with the goal of making the largest Iceberg series ever, and despite being dozens upon dozens of hours into the series, I haven't even scratched the surface yet. So get on board and come along on this ride with me. Let's make some history together. Also, if you really want to take it to the next level, please consider signing up for a YouTube membership or a Patreon membership. You can support for as little as 99 cents a month. Notably, if you sign up for the YouTube membership, there are a few extra videos there as well from my very early days as a YouTuber. The Allagash Abduction. The Allagash Abduction is one of the most intriguing UFO cases in American history, occurring in the remote wilderness of Allagash, Maine, in August 1976. This case involves 4 men, twin brothers Jack and Jim Weiner, Charlie Foltz, and Chuck Rack, all young art students from Massachusetts. The story begins on August 20th, 1976, when the 4 friends were on a canoeing trip along the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. That night, while they were night fishing on Eagle Lake, they saw a bright light in the sky. Initially, they thought it was a helicopter or a plane, but the light seemed too bright and unusual. As they watched, the light moved closer, and they began to feel uneasy. In an attempt to signal the light, Charlie Foltz used a flashlight to send an SOS signal. The light responded by approaching rapidly, causing the men to panic and paddle frantically back to shore. Suddenly, everything went black, and the men felt a loss of consciousness or period of amnesia. When they regained consciousness, they found themselves back at their campsite, but with a sense of missing time. The large bonfire they had set before their excursion had burned down to embers, suggesting they had been away much longer than they perceived. Years later, the men began experiencing disturbing nightmares, recounting what had occurred. Jack Weiner's dreams were particularly vivid, involving strange beings with large heads and eyes conducting examinations on him. These dreams were shared by the other men, prompting them to seek help from a UFO researcher, Raymond Fowler. Fowler recommended regressive hypnosis to uncover any suppressed memories. Under hypnosis, all four men recounted being taken aboard a spacecraft. On this spacecraft, they were subjected to various medical examinations by humanoid beings with large metallic eyes and insect-like hands. The descriptions of their abduction were consistent and detailed. The men recalled being paralyzed and unable to resist as they were examined using strange instruments. Samples of their bodily fluids were taken, and they were placed back in their canoes afterward. These sessions revealed a shared experience of being transferred from their canoes into the UFO via a tube-like beam of light. The men also passed polygraph tests, adding credibility to their claims, or at least providing significant evidence that they believed their accounts subjectively. Despite the detailed accounts and the consistency of their stories, skepticism remains. Critics argue that the use of hypnosis and the possibility of suggestibility among the men might have influenced their recollections. Some suggest that the shared memories could be the result of group dynamics and the power of suggestion. Nevertheless, the Allagash abduction remains a compelling case in the wider body of UFO lore. The Fairy Circles of Namibia. The fairy circles of Namibia are barren patches of soil surrounded by rings of grass that dot the Namib desert landscape, stretching from southern Angola to northern South Africa. The first recorded mention of the fairy circles dates back to the 1970s, although they have likely existed for far longer. These circles range in diameter from 7 to 32 feet and are evenly spaced 16 to 32 feet apart. From above, they create a striking polka-dotted pattern against the reddish-orange sands of the Namib Desert, resembling the coat of a cheetah. The Himba people, indigenous to Namibia, attribute the circles to supernatural forces. According to their folklore, the circles are created by the footprints of gods or spirits, specifically the Himba god Mukuru. Some even believe that these formations are the result of dragon's breath, or the work of otherworldly beings. Over the years, several theories have been proposed to explain the formation of fairy circles. One early hypothesis suggested that termites were responsible, creating the circles by consuming the roots of vegetation and leaving behind barren patches of soil. However, this theory has been contested by recent research. Critics argue that correlation does not imply causation, and that further evidence is needed to conclusively link termites to the circles. More recent studies have shifted the focus from termites to the self-organizing behavior of plants. This research suggests that the circles result from intense competition for water among the desert grasses. In this harsh environment, grasses on the periphery of the circles absorb water more effectively, depriving the central area and creating the characteristic barren patch. This theory is supported by observations of rapid water uptake by peripheral grasses after rainfall, leading to the death of grasses in the center. Despite advances in understanding, the exact mechanisms behind the fairy circles remain a topic of active research and debate. The self-organization theory, which likens the formation of fairy circles to other natural patterns seen in ecosystems worldwide, such as mussel beds and peat bogs, is gaining traction. This theory suggests that the circles are a survival strategy, allowing plants to optimize water use in arid conditions. Research published in 2022 has provided compelling evidence for the plant competition theory. A team found that grasses around the circles create a soil moisture vacuum, drawing water toward their roots and leaving the center dry. As discussed previously, this finding aligns with observations of similar self-organizing vegetation patterns in other drylands globally. While significant progress has been made in understanding their formation, the mystery is far from fully resolved. The disappearance of Brandon Lawson. On the night of August 8, 2013, Brandon Lawson, a 26-year-old oil worker from San Angelo, Texas, had an argument with his girlfriend, Ladessa Lofton. This led him to leave their home and drive towards his father's house in Crowley, Texas. Shortly before midnight, Brandon ran out of gas on Route 277 near Bronte, Texas. This marked the beginning of a series of mysterious events leading to his disappearance. At approximately 12:30 a.m. on August 9th, Brandon called his brother, Kyle Lawson, asking for help as his truck had run out of gas. During this call, Brandon claimed that 3 individuals in the neighborhood were chasing him. Kyle, suspecting his brother might be hallucinating due to his past substance use, set out with his wife and son to bring Brandon gas. As Kyle was en route, Brandon made a frantic 911 call around 12:50 a.m., telling the dispatcher that he was in the middle of a field and needed the police. He mentioned that he had run out of gas and that someone was chasing him into the woods. This call, filled with confusing and incoherent statements, is one of the most critical and debated pieces of evidence in the case. Shortly after the 911 call, a truck driver reported Brandon's abandoned truck, which was parked hazardously on the road. A sheriff's deputy arrived at the scene at 1:10 a.m., around the same time as Kyle. Despite Brandon telling Kyle over the phone that he could see him, neither Kyle nor the deputy could locate Brandon. Kyle initially thought Brandon might be hiding due to an outstanding warrant, which is a fairly reasonable assumption. Kyle continued to search the area until dawn, but found no trace whatsoever of Brandon. The official search efforts, including the use of thermal imaging cameras, helicopters, and search dogs, also failed to locate him. The rough terrain, coupled with wild animals and the nearby Colorado River, made the search even more challenging. Over the years, various theories have emerged about what happened to Brandon Lawson. Some speculate that he left voluntarily to start a new life, especially considering his recent cash withdrawal from his 401k. Others believe he might have succumbed to the harsh elements or encountered foul play. The enigmatic 911 call continues to be a focal point of these theories, with many debating what Brandon was trying to convey and what exactly happened that night. The case took a significant turn in February 2022, when search parties discovered clothing and human remains near Brandon's last known location. While DNA results are pending, the discovery is believed to bring some closure to the mystery of Brandon Lawson's disappearance. On June 5, 2023, a Facebook post provided an update on the DNA analysis of the human remains. Unfortunately, as of the latest update in January 2024, results are still pending. The delays are due to the small quantity of remains, which makes each analysis attempt destructive, and the significant DNA degradation after over 8 years of exposure to the elements. The remains have been sent to 2 different laboratories so far. The Texas Rangers, who are in charge of the operation, are considering other options for identification. However, that said, the official position of the Texas Rangers is that the body discovered is with near certainty Brandon Lawson's. The Vampire Cat of Nabashima. The Vampire Cat of Nabeshima is a captivating tale from Japan's folklore. Originating in the Edo period, the story is set in the Hizen province, under the domain of the Nabeshima clan. This is a samurai clan that played a significant role in Japanese history from the late Sengoku period and throughout the Edo period. The clan was well established and influential, holding power in what is today part of Saga Prefecture. The tale centers around a mysterious and sinister feline that, following the demise of a favored courtesan, transforms into a nefarious specter haunting the Lord of Nabeshima. This cat, known as a bakaneko in Japanese folklore, represents the dual-natured view of cats in this period, both protective and potentially malevolent. The bakaneko is a type of yokai that specifically falls under the category of supernatural cats. While it shares similarities with cat-like yokai called the nekomata, the primary distinguishing feature is that a nekomata possesses two tails, whereas a bakaneko has just one. The bakaneko was feared for its supernatural abilities, including shape-shifting and cursing humans, reflecting the era's deep-seated superstitions and the pervasive fear of the unknown. According to the legend, the bakaneko took on the appearance of the deceased woman and began to drain the life force of Lord Nabeshima by night, returning to its feline form by day. And yes, if you're wondering what I mean by, quote, draining the life force by night, I can confirm your absolute worst suspicions. And just to be 100% clear, the creature was not in cat form during the, quote, life force draining sessions. The Lord's failing health was suspected to be the work of sorcery, prompting his retainers to stand guard. However, the enchantment induced by the bakaneko caused all but one, a loyal soldier named Ito Soda, to fall asleep. Notably, Soda was not a samurai, unlike many of the other men who were supposed to protect Lord Nabeshima. Soda, determined to protect his lord despite only being a peasant foot soldier, resorted to engaging in consensual injury to stay awake and confront and slay the evil yokai. Through his incredible determination and self-sacrifice for his lord, Soda encountered the bakaneko, disguised as a beautiful woman. Notably, Soda was able to see through the disguise, something that actual samurai failed to see. His vigilance disrupted her meow-levolent intentions, highlighting themes of fidelity and sacrifice prevalent in samurai culture. Notably, for his vigilance and service, Ito Soda was promoted from a peasant soldier to the ranks of the samurai class, granting him and his descendants substantial privileges. Further, Soda's display of samurai-like values, even before he was elevated to the samurai class, was intended to shame the retainers of Lord Nabeshima. Traditional Japanese samurai culture is based largely upon shame, much like many warrior cultures around the world. To have a lowly peasant display more samurai virtues than actual samurai was in effect putting Lord Nabeshima's retainers on notice. The Lost Legion of Cambyses. Over 2 millennia ago, the Persian king Cambyses II sent a massive army of 50,000 soldiers to subdue the Oracle of Amun at the Jojo Siwa Oasis in Egypt. What followed is one of the most enduring mysteries of ancient history. The entire army vanished without a trace in the vast western desert of Egypt. Cambyses II, the son of Cyrus the Great, ruled the Achaemenid Empire from 530 to 522 BC. His reign was marked by significant military campaigns, including the conquest of Egypt in 525 BC. Cambyses' decision to target the Oracle of Amun was driven by political and religious motivations. The oracle had refused to recognize his legitimacy as pharaoh. The journey was treacherous, spanning hundreds of miles of harsh desert terrain, known for its unforgiving sandstorms and minimal water sources. According to Herodotus, the only detailed ancient source on this event, the army disappeared during a sandstorm while en route to the Siwa oasis. The Persian troops, along with their equipment, were supposedly swallowed by the desert sands, leaving no trace behind. This narrative, while dramatic, is considered by many scholars today as largely symbolic. Modern historians believe it highlights the perilous nature of ancient desert warfare and perhaps serving as a cautionary tale against imperial overreach and going against the will of higher powers. Modern archaeological efforts have attempted to uncover evidence of this lost army, with some tantalizing potential breakthroughs. In 2000, a geological team discovered fragments of textiles, weapons, and human remains in Egypt's western desert, which were initially thought to be associated with Cambyses' army. However, the authenticity and dating of these artifacts have been subjects of debate among scholars. Similarly, in 2009, the Castiglione brothers claimed to have found remains dating back to the time of the Persian army near Siwa Oasis. However, these findings were met with skepticism due to the brothers' controversial background in filmmaking. Others believe that the use of terms surrounding sandstorms was not intended to be taken literally, but that the cultural context had been lost over time. Supporting this theory, Olaf Kaper, an archaeologist and a professor of Egyptology at Leiden University in the Netherlands, proposed that the army did not vanish due to a sandstorm. Instead, he posits that it was likely defeated by a rebel Egyptian leader, Petubastis III. This theory shifts the narrative from natural disaster to a potentially crushing man-made catastrophe. Despite ongoing research and exploration, the true story of what happened to this lost legion remains buried under the sands of time, perhaps forever. Lagerfloat worm. The Lagerfloat worm is a legendary creature believed to inhabit the waters of Lake Lagerfloat in eastern Iceland. The first recorded sighting of the Lagerfloat worm dates back to 1345, with various historical accounts detailing its appearances over the centuries. According to Icelandic folklore, the creature originated from a small heath worm, or heath snake, which was placed on a gold ring to multiply the gold. Modern retellings of the story indicate that the creature described was likely actually a black slug, rather than a worm or a snake. But I'll be sticking with the original telling here. Instead of multiplying the gold, the worm grew exponentially, leading to its disposal into Lake Lagerfloat, where it continued to grow and terrorize the area. Descriptions of the Lagerfloat worm vary, but it is generally depicted as a large serpentine creature, with some accounts suggesting it could be as long as the lake itself, or about 300 feet. The worm is often described as having a scaly, dragon-like appearance, with a hump that rises above the water when it surfaces. Some stories even claim that it can swim at incredible speeds, and, in some versions, that it can even take to the sky. Throughout the years, there have been numerous sightings of the Lagerfloat worm. One notable report from 1589 described the creature raising its hump so high above the lake that a ship with full sails could pass underneath. Modern sightings continue to fuel the legend, with a famous video taken in 2012 showing what many believe to be the worm undulating in the water. However, skeptics believe that this famous sighting is actually just a curious-looking formation in the ice. Stories passed down through generations tell of the worm causing destruction, spitting poison, and even attacking humans and animals. In some tales, two magicians or a benevolent bishop managed to restrain the creature by tying its head and tail to the bottom of the lake. Despite the many accounts and sightings, the existence of the Lagerfloat worm remains unproven. Skeptics argue that the sightings could be attributed to natural phenomena such as drifting logs, gas bubbles, or optical illusions caused by the glacial silt in the lake. Some suggest it is a remnant of ancient Norse mythology, possibly linked to the Midgard serpent or other mythological dragons. Others believe it could be a misunderstood natural phenomenon or an undiscovered species. Make sure to check out the YouTube membership and Patreon. You can support my channel for as little as 99 cents a month. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already. As usual, I love you all and thank you all for your support. I really appreciate how many of you have come to enjoy my content. Shout out to my patrons Noah Schubert, Iced Mocha, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, Jeffer Metcalf, Z Volts, Director Delta, Unknown Delusions, Faye, Jack Russell, Boomslang, and Blasphemous. Big shout out to YouTube members Jordan All and Lowlife Baphomet. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Peace out, everyone.